Hello there, this is Miss Boyd. I am looking at, let me pull it up here, number 14 on the Term 3 regular pre-assessment. Number 14 is probably the trickiest question on the test. And the post-test will be very similar. The first two measures are each missing one note. That first sentence gives you a huge hint. It's really important that you slow down and read directions. So right off the bat, I know that both of these first two measures, I'm going to have to fill in one note in each. Complete the measures using two of the notes on the right, drawing them on the correct lines or spaces. So not only do I need to make sure to get the right kind of note, half note, eighth, or quarter, I need to put them on the correct line or space. So you're really doing two things here. You're figuring out rhythm of each measure and what kind of note can fit in this space, and then you're figuring out pitch, which is the lines and the spaces. So I'm switched over here to a program where I can move around the notes. On the pretest, the correct answer was you drawing a quarter note on this second line, and then a half note on this space right here, this line. Make sure when you draw your notes it's clear that you're not covering a space and a line, but that only one space or line is being covered. Otherwise you will get the question marked wrong. So I know no matter what is played here in this measure, that this measure has to be a quarter note. Because I know I have 4/4 time. I'm in 4/4 time. 4 beats, there are 4 beats per measure. The quarter note receives 1 beat. So essentially I can have 4 quarter notes or the equivalent of 4 quarter notes. Here is 1 quarter note. A half note is worth 2 quarter notes. So I know that I need 1 more beat to complete this measure. 2 plus 1 plus 1. And I know that it's 1 note because it says the first two measures are each missing 1 note. So then I just need to figure out what 1 note goes there. If I have 1 beat, 2 beats, I need something that is only 1 beat. So that's how I figured out my quarter note goes somewhere here. I don't even need to hear this example to know that I'm going to put a quarter note in that measure. For the second measure, I know that I need 1 note to complete this measure. Well, I have a half of a beat plus another half of a beat. I know these together equal 1 whole beat. I know that my quarter note is worth 1 beat. So what I need right here, in order to get 4 beats per measure, I need something that is 2 beats. So I know that my half note is going to go in here. Now I just need to listen for the pitch, and I can put it on the correct line or space. So I know that my half note's going to go here, my quarter note's going to go here. The example went like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. I can stop listening right here because I know this measure is complete. So in the first measure, I need to figure out where does this quarter note go. I'm going to hear the first measure again. I hear that it's lower, and I hear that it's still higher than the first note, and it's only 1 step lower. On the post-test, it won't be something crazy like way up here or way down here. It's going to be probably next door, either up or down, or the same. So I hear do, mi, re. So I know it's very close by. That was a whole step. Then the second measure went, So I heard la, la, da, da, da. I I heard a lower pitch here, so my half note goes on this line. Once again, in the post test, it's not going to be crazy jumps or leaps. It's probably going to be stepwise or same-wise motion. So let's move these out of the way and pretend that I'm going to do something totally different here. And you can figure out what I do. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here it is one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you want to hear that again, you can back it up and play it, but I'm going to give you the answer now. I went do, mi, fa. So this one went up a step. Then to the second measure, mi, fa, do, do. I actually kept this half note the same, so it would cover that space. Do, mi, so, do. So that would be the answer for the example I just gave you. And just for extra practice, let's go to something that looks a little different, because on the post test, it won't be the same exact example. So let's pretend this is your post test. Right away, you can look at this and figure out what kind of note you need to fill in the first and the second measures with. So if I'm in 4/4 time, there are 4 beats per measure. My quarter note receives 1 beat. I know that this equals 1 beat. This half is worth 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. I need 1 beat here. So I'm going to have to fill in a quarter note. And the second measure is a little trickier. This is 1/8 note. Here you had 2/8 notes, each equaling a half of a beat. This is 1/8 note, which equals a half of a beat, plus your dotted half note in 4/4 time. Remember, don't let the dot confuse you. The half note gets 2 beats. The dot adds half of that value to itself. So half of 2 is 1. 2 plus 1 is 3. So this measure is 3½ beats so far. In order to equal 4 beats, I need a half of a beat in this measure yet to make it complete. Which note over here is a half of a beat? It's the 8th note. So I have a half plus 3 plus another half. So this is 4 beats total. And then I know my quarter note's going to go somewhere here. Now I just have to listen for if they're a step up or down or the same. So I'm ready to begin listening. Again, I just have to get my quarter on the right lines or space and my 8th note on the right lines or spaces. Starting pitches here. The tempo of the quarter note is 1, 2, 3, 4. Here it is again for a second time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like I said, this isn't going to be anything crazy. The notes you fill in are going to be stepwise or same-wise from the previous note. So I listened very closely. I heard that this quarter note was just a little bit lower than the previous note. And then it went up. 2, 3, 4. I heard this 8th go up really quickly. Then I heard the last measure. So altogether it sounded like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you watch this video all the way through, I gave you some really good hints for the post test, meaning that you can figure out which kind of note goes in the empty spaces. And then the other big hint was the notes that you draw in are only probably going to be a step up or a step below or the same note as the previous notes. So that should be really helpful. You just have to listen for if it stays the same, goes up by one step, or down by one step. I hope this was helpful.